Alright guys, we have the final part of the Inversion Series and I'm going to cover handstand walking. So we've gone through headstands, getting comfortable being upside down. We've gone through the handstand push-up. So the next step, we'll take it into handstand walking. I'm going to cover 3 different parts. I'm going to talk about the kick-up. I'm going to talk about the actual act of walking, and then I'm going to talk about faults that I see in ways that you can, or faults that I see in most people that have trouble with handstand walking, and some ways that you can practice. So first thing is the kick-up. The kick-up is super important because obviously it starts the movement process of the handstand walk. So when you kick up to start walking, you want to kick up to vertical before your hands ever start moving. So you're going to kick up to vertical, and then you're going to initiate the fall with your hips. So handstand walking essentially is falling with control. So in order to generate that movement, you have to lead with the hips and then let your hands take over from there. So what I have people do to start is I have them practice with the wall. So they're going to kick up to the wall, they're going to make sure they hit vertical. It's 2 separate movements. You're going to hit vertical, and then you're going to lean to the wall, finding the wall with your feet together, and the hips generating the movement. So there's no break at the knee to get the feet to the wall. You have to lead with the hips, and then the feet find the wall. So this will help you start to get an idea of what it feels like to start the movement and generate that momentum to start walking. So I'm going to demo what that looks like. Again, 2 separate movements. You're going to kick up to vertical, find the wall. One thing that you want to think about when doing this is when you find the wall, making sure that both feet touch at the same time and that your feet are together without a break in the knee. So feet together is really important when you're first starting to handstand walk. The further away that your feet are from your midline, the harder the movement is going to be. So until you start really understanding body control, body awareness, and you're getting comfortable upside down, once you start working on like handstand walking for speed, that's a whole nother story. But until then, really try to focus on keeping the feet together. So one more time what that looks like. Pick up, find the wall. The next part, so you've got this, you feel pretty comfortable, you're falling into the wall with your hips, is to take you off of the wall and start the movement process. So you'll kick up to handstand, you'll get your vertical. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to start moving. So when you think about handstand walking, I tell everybody to think about your hands are chasing your feet. Okay, so if your hips are leading the way, okay, your toes are going to be also in line with your hips, and they're going to be in front of the shoulders leading the way. And you want your hands to try to stay and play catch up with your feet. One thing that has to happen is you have to have an active shoulder. So when you're inverted, you've got to make sure that you're pushing the ground away from you and you're keeping that armpit nice and open. What's going to happen is if you take a step and you have an inactive shoulder, all you're going to do is crumble to the ground under your body weight. So in order to be able to support the load of your body weight, you've got to active shoulder, push that ground away as you walk with every step. That'll also help keep that armpit open, which I'll discuss the open armpit, closed armpit here in a little bit. So with that movement, again, you're kicking up, let the hips lead the way, and then your hands are going to be moving. So hands have to be moving pretty quick because it's, like I said, it's a controlled fall. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, you can't always control how fast or your momentum. So making sure that your hands are moving, you're staying active. The other part is the hips. The hips have to stay square with the shoulders, right? So if you're moving, you don't want to rotate the hips as you're trying to take steps. So you're not trying to rotate in order to generate momentum. Okay, you're leading with the hips always stay square, and the movement is just coming from the shoulders. Okay, so with that in mind, a couple of things that I see with people, common faults in the handstand walking. Probably the most common is going to be a closed shoulder. So people kick up and they start to close off the shoulder, and they get an inactive shoulder here, and then they try to start walking. They may take a few steps. Some people, if they're strong enough, are able to continue to walk and take steps. What's going to happen though with that closed shoulder is you're going to burn out. So you want to make sure that the shoulder stays nice and open. This also kind of acts as a brake. So it's either going to stop you or it's going to slow you down quite a bit. So you want to make sure that that armpit stays nice and open. From there, okay, the other common fault that I see with people on the handstand walking is they try to take steps before they hit vertical. So they kind of get like a wheelbarrow type handstand walk. So really getting comfortable again with kicking up to the wall and finding the wall and leading that way. So think about, don't take any steps until you've hit vertical. Okay? And also to think about it, this might help people running. So always think about, or use the analogy of running with handstand walking. So when you run, the first thing that you do is you lead with the hips, right? You lead with the shoulders. So you lead with the shoulders and then the feet follow. Okay, flip it upside down. Now, same thing has to happen. You have to lead with the hips in order to keep that movement. So if you're running, you're not gonna run with your shoulders stacked right on top or even behind. You're gonna always be in front. So if you flip it and now our hands or our feet, you're gonna make sure that your hips are moving over your shoulders to continue that movement. So now I want to go over a couple ways to put all that together and to practice. So the biggest thing with handstand walking to get better, it's all about practice. It's not so much of a strength movement, it's a skill movement. So a lot of times people just practicing the movement, you will get better. And it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of attention. Once you start to learn that body awareness and body control, the movement will start to get easier. So a couple ways that you can practice. You can practice with a partner. So I'm gonna have Brittany come in. She's gonna be my partner. So if she's trying to practice her handstands, we can use each other. So from here, she's gonna kick up, and as her spotter, I'm gonna be there to catch her feet. I'm gonna make sure that she's hitting vertical before she starts. I'll give her a little tap so she can start movement. Boom. So having somebody that kind of can be there to help you as a safety net, if you don't have a partner and you need to practice on your own, the wall is also a good little safety net. So starting close to the wall, kicking up, maybe taking a step or two, letting the wall catch you, and then as you get more comfortable, you can start to take yourself further back from the wall and then move a little bit closer, farther away, and then try to walk into the wall until you get comfortable enough where you're taking 5 or 6 steps without the wall and you feel comfortable without it, and then you can move on to the floor. So what that looks like without a partner, just kicking up. So immediately, before I have any time to lose control or freak out upside down, the wall stops me, catches me, and then it kind of gives me a little bit of a safety net. So a couple of things there for you guys for the handstand walking. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to post in the comments, send me any type of email, jessica@carhustrength.com, and I'd be happy to help you guys out. Thanks.